Less is more. Sounds like something a person with a suspiciously empty apartment says right before they try to sell you a $300 candle. It also sounds like a lie. How does having less of anything give you more of anything? That's not how math works. But here's the weird part. Philosophers have been saying this for thousands of years. And not just the ones who couldn't afford stuff. Epicurus had access to fancy wine and chose bread and water. Buddha literally walked away from a palace. Either history's deepest thinkers were all running the same scam, or they figured out something the rest of us keep missing, while we're buried under 17 subscription services and a closet full of things we forgot we bought. Let's start with Epicurus, because his situation is the hardest to explain away. This wasn't some monk who never had options. He could have had the expensive wines, the elaborate dinners, the ancient Greek equivalent of a lifestyle upgrade. He looked at all of it and said, "No, actually, bread and water and a conversation with friends, that's the good life." And he meant it. Not as deprivation. He genuinely believed that limiting your desires, not satisfying them, limiting them, was the path to contentment. If you don't crave things, you can't be disappointed when you don't get them. If plain bread tastes good to you, you're never stuck waiting for something better. The Stoics landed on something similar. They argued that happiness comes from inside, not from accumulating stuff. If you don't want much, you're never disappointed. That's it. That's the whole system. They were the ancient version of those people who fit their entire life into one backpack and won't shut up about how freeing it is. Except it's been around for 2,000 years, so maybe they were onto something. Then there's Buddha. He grew up in a palace, actual royalty, had the luxury, the comfort, the everything. And he walked away to figure out what actually made people happy. What he landed on was the middle path. Not extreme luxury, not extreme austerity, just balance. Enough to enjoy, not so much that it owns you. Buddha at a buffet would take some salad, a scoop of rice, a piece of fruit. Just enough. The middle path is choosing the practical car over the flashy one. You get where you need to go without the extra cost and stress. Here's where it gets interesting. These aren't isolated weirdos. Across traditions, Buddhist mindfulness, Christian humility, Zen wabi-sabi finding beauty in imperfection, simplicity keeps showing up. Different cultures, different centuries, same conclusion. Strip away the unnecessary. And it's not just about stuff. That's the part people miss. It's about mental clutter too. The obligations you said yes to that you didn't want. The decisions about things you don't care about. The low-grade anxiety of maintaining and keeping track of everything you own. Your stuff becomes a relationship you can't escape. You worry about maintaining it, losing it, whether you should have bought the better version. It takes up physical space, sure, but it also takes up mental space. And that might be the bigger cost. Modern minimalists like Joshua Becker put it bluntly. The first step in crafting the life you want is getting rid of everything you don't. It sounds dramatic until you delete 1,000 old emails and feel weirdly calm. That's a tiny version of what they're talking about. There's even a term now, JOMO, the joy of missing out. The relief of not cramming your schedule, not keeping up with every new thing. Just being. Saying no thank you without guilt. The ancient Greeks figured this out with bread and conversation. The Stoics figured it out by wanting less. Buddha figured it out by walking away from everything. And here we are, overwhelmed by options, drowning in subscriptions, unable to find our keys under a pile of things we forgot we owned. The math actually does work. It's just not addition.